Studies show that people who eat diets heavy in processed and fried foods often look up to 10 years older than those who don't, not because of genetics, but because these foods trigger inflammation, glycation, and oxidative stress that wear down the body from the inside out. Sugar, the silent accelerator of aging. Sugar is not just a sweet indulgence. It is a biochemical disruptor, a silent thief that robs your skin of its youth, your organs of their vitality, and your brain of its sharpness. When most people think about sugar, they imagine candy bars, sodas, or desserts. But sugar has infiltrated nearly every corner of the modern diet. It hides in bread, ketchup, salad dressings, flavored yogurts, sports drinks, and even foods marketed as healthy. And every spoonful, every sip, is like adding fuel to a fire that burns away your youth from the inside. At the core of sugar's damage is a process called glycation. Imagine tiny sugar molecules floating through your bloodstream. They are sticky, reactive, and always looking for a partner. When they find proteins or fats, they latch on, binding irreversibly. These sugar-protein complexes are called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. The name could not be more fitting. AGEs literally make you age. Collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep skin firm and elastic, are prime targets for glycation. Collagen fibers are like springs holding your skin taut and smooth. Sugar corrodes these springs, making them stiff, brittle, and prone to breaking. The result is sagging skin, wrinkles that deepen faster, and a loss of that youthful bounce. Elastin, the protein that allows your skin to snap back when stretched, also falls victim. With sugar damage, skin no longer rebounds. It sags, folds, and droops. It is as if sugar takes a young, vibrant face and accelerates it decades forward. But the visible signs are just the beginning. AGEs wreak havoc deep inside the body. They stiffen blood vessels, making arteries less flexible and raising blood pressure. They cloud the lenses of your eyes, contributing to cataract. They damage kidney tissue, leading to renal decline. They inflame nerve cells, fueling neuropathy and brain fog. Over decades, this accumulation of AGEs acts like rust on a car, silent at first, then impossible to ignore as systems fail one by one. And sugar does not act alone. Every time you eat it, insulin, the hormone that helps shuttle glucose into cells, surges. Occasional surges are normal, but repeated spikes every day push your pancreas to its limit. Eventually, cells stop responding properly, a condition known as insulin resistance. This is the doorway to type 2 diabetes, but even before diabetes develops, insulin resistance accelerates aging. It drives fat storage, especially around the belly. It disrupts hormones, leading to fatigue, mood swings, and poor sleep. It damages blood vessels, promoting atherosclerosis. Insulin resistance is like putting your body into fast forward, pushing you toward premature aging years ahead of schedule. Think about the typical modern day: breakfast cereal with hidden sugar, a sweetened coffee, a mid-morning snack bar, a sandwich with sugary sauces, a soda at lunch, a cookie in the afternoon, and dessert after dinner. Each of these meals floods the body with sugar. You may not feel the damage immediately. There is no pain, no obvious alarm. But deep inside, glycation is corroding proteins, insulin is spiking, free radicals are multiplying. This is how sugar kills silently, not with one blow, but with millions of tiny cuts over years. Sugar also fuels oxidative stress, an imbalance between free radicals and antioxidant. Free radicals are unstable molecules that steal electrons from your cells, damaging DNA, proteins, and membranes. Antioxidants usually keep them in check, but high sugar tips the balance. The result is a wildfire of molecular damage that accelerates cellular death. This oxidative stress contributes to wrinkles, dull skin, slow healing, and even the gray pallor of aging. The brain is another victim. High sugar diets are strongly linked to memory decline, poor focus, and mood swings. Chronic sugar consumption inflames neural pathways, disrupting communication between brain cells. Over years, this increases the risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Some researchers even call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of the devastating role sugar plays in brain aging. That mental fog you feel after a sugar binge? It's not your imagination, it's your brain struggling under a load it cannot handle. Even the immune system suffers. After a sugary meal, the activity of white blood cells, your body's defense soldiers, drops significantly for several hours. Imagine leaving the gates of your castle open while invaders roam the land. That's what sugar does. It leaves you vulnerable to infection, slows down recovery, and weakens your defenses over time. People who eat high-sugar diets often notice they get sick more often, recover more slowly, and feel generally run down. Sugar's reach goes beyond the biological to the psychological. Its addictive nature hijacks your brain's reward system. Each hit of sugar releases dopamine, giving you a quick rush of pleasure. But like any drug, the effect fades quickly, leaving you craving more. Over time, your brain becomes less sensitive to dopamine, and you need larger amounts of sugar to feel the same pleasure. This is why fruit no longer tastes sweet to heavy sugar eaters. Their taste buds and brains have been rewired. The cycle of craving, indulgence, and crash becomes relentless, trapping people in patterns that age them faster. Now picture the visible consequences: dull, sagging skin, persistent under-eye bags, a bloated belly, sluggish posture, constant fatigue. These are not just cosmetic problems, they are the outward expression of inner chaos. Sugar is etching the story of your diet onto your face, your body, and your energy. And yet, there is hope. Cutting back on sugar delivers results quickly. Within weeks, skin appears brighter, energy stabilizes, and cravings diminish. Over months, insulin sensitivity improves, arteries regain flexibility, and the risk of chronic disease drops. Studies show that people who reduce sugar often look years younger, not because of cosmetics, but because their biology is literally functioning better. The truth about sugar is simple: it is not just empty calories. It is a chemical accelerant that pushes the body into premature decline. Each choice, water instead of soda, fruit instead of candy, whole grains instead of pastries, is not just a small dietary tweak. It is a decision to turn back the clock, to slow down the invisible fire of glycation, to protect your skin, your heart, your brain, and your future. Sugar is the sweetest assassin, and the less power you give it, the more years you reclaim. Processed meats, aging packed in plastic. Processed meats are the convenient foods of modern life. Bacon sizzling at breakfast, hot dogs at a summer barbecue, deli slices in a sandwich. They are salty, flavorful, and engineered to last for weeks in a refrigerator. But behind their smoky taste lies a darker truth. These foods are loaded with compounds that accelerate aging from the inside out. The main villains here are nitrates and nitrites, preservatives added to keep the meat pink, flavorful, and shelf-stable. When these chemicals enter your body, they can form nitrosamines, toxic compounds that damage DNA and accelerate cellular aging. Think of your DNA as the instruction manual for keeping your body young and functional. Nitrosamines are like vandals scribbling over the pages, introducing mistakes and errors. Over time, this molecular graffiti contributes to cancer, vascular aging, and degenerative diseases. Processed meats are also notoriously high in sodium. Sodium pulls water out of your cells, leaving skin dehydrated and prone to wrinkles. On the outside, this looks like dull, sagging, and prematurely lined skin. On the inside, excess sodium stresses the kidneys, raises blood pressure, and accelerates the stiffening of arteries. A diet rich in bacon, ham, or salami is like pouring salt onto the gears of your body. Eventually they corrode, grind, and fail. But that's not all. Processed meats are often cooked or preserved at high temperatures, creating advanced glycation end products, AGEs, the same destructive molecules caused by sugar. This double hit of preservatives plus ages makes processed meats one of the most potent aging accelerators in the modern diet. It's not just the calories or fat content, it's the chemical load these meats carry that wears your body down at a cellular level. Consider the impact on the skin. People who consume a lot of processed meats often struggle with puffiness, dryness, and more pronounced wrinkles. The dehydration effect of sodium combined with the inflammatory effect of nitrosamines creates a perfect storm for visible aging. Imagine your skin like a balloon filled with water. With too much salt, the balloon deflates, loses its plumpness, and develops creases. That's what happens to your face day after day, year after year. And then there's inflammation. Processed meats trigger chronic low-grade inflammation, the silent fire that underlies nearly every age-related disease. Inflammation damages arteries, stiffens joints, disrupts brain chemistry, and exhausts the immune system. You may not feel it as pain right away, but over time, this invisible fire leaves scars in your tissues, accelerating the breakdown of systems meant to keep you youthful. Let's not forget oxidative stress. The preservatives and additives in processed meats create free radicals, unstable molecules that attack DNA, proteins, and membranes. Without enough antioxidants to neutralize them, these free radicals spread damage like sparks igniting dry wood. Over years, the damage accumulates, leading to cancer, heart disease, and neurodegeneration. People who eat processed meats regularly are essentially feeding this fire every single day. The effects are visible in everyday life. Someone who eats bacon and sausages regularly may notice swollen fingers from water retention, deeper facial lines, puffy under eyes, and slower recovery after physical activity. They may feel more fatigued, need more coffee just to function, and find that their skin looks tired even after sleep. These are not just random annoyances, they are the marks of accelerated aging driven by diet. It's also about the gut microbiome. Processed meats disturb the delicate balance of bacteria in the intestines, reducing diversity and promoting harmful strains. Since the gut is central to immune function, hormone regulation, and even mood, this imbalance accelerates not only physical aging but also mental decline. People often underestimate how much their food choices influence not just how old they look, but how old they feel inside. Now think of the cumulative effect. Breakfast bacon, a lunch sandwich with deli meats, a dinner sausage or pepperoni pizza. Each meal feels small, but over decades the preservatives, sodium, and chemical byproducts stack up, like layers of rust on metal. By middle age, the damage is written clearly. High blood pressure, stiff arteries, sagging skin, aching joints, and lower energy. And yet, just like with sugar, the hopeful truth is that avoiding processed meats or drastically reducing them brings powerful results. Within weeks, water retention decreases, skin looks fresher, blood pressure improves, and energy stabilizes. Over months, inflammation markers drop, arteries regain flexibility, and the gut microbiome begins to rebalance. It is a transformation that no cream or cosmetic treatment can deliver, because it is working at the root, inside your cells. Processed meats may be marketed as convenient, but convenience often comes with a hidden price. Every slice of bacon, every hot dog, every deli cut is a trade. A few minutes of flavor today for years carved off your health tomorrow. Fried foods. Crispy on the outside, aging on the inside. There's something irresistible about the crunch of fried food. The golden crust, the sizzling aroma, the way a French fry breaks between your teeth or a piece of fried chicken fills your mouth with flavor. It feels indulgent, satisfying, almost comforting. But beneath that satisfying crunch lies one of the most damaging choices for your youth and longevity. Fried foods don't just clog arteries or add inches to your waistline, they accelerate aging at nearly every level of the body. When food is fried, especially in oils heated to high temperatures, it undergoes profound chemical transformations. Healthy fats break down and transform into trans fats, which are structurally twisted molecules that your body struggles to process. These unnatural fats get incorporated into cell membranes, making them stiff, brittle, and dysfunctional. Imagine your cells as tiny houses with walls built from fat. Normally, the walls are flexible, allowing nutrients in and waste out. But when trans fats replace natural fats, those walls become rigid and cracked, disrupting communication and accelerating cellular decay. This isn't just theory. Studies show that diets high in trans fats are strongly linked to wrinkles, reduced skin hydration, and systemic inflammation. But trans fats are only part of the story. Frying creates a flood of free radicals, unstable molecules that attack DNA, proteins, and skin cells. These free radicals overwhelm your antioxidant defenses, leaving behind scars at a molecular level. Think of them like sparks in a dry forest. One or two may go out harmlessly, but millions ignite a wildfire of oxidative stress. Over time, this oxidative storm accelerates everything we associate with aging: stiff joints, dull skin, slower healing, and increased vulnerability to disease. And then there are the advanced glycation end products, AGEs, formed during frying. The Maillard reaction, the same process that gives fried food its brown, crispy texture, is also responsible for creating AGEs. These compounds damage collagen and elastin, robbing the skin of its firmness and elasticity. That golden crust on your French fry may look appetizing, but it comes with a cost. Inside your body, the same browning process is hardening your tissues, stiffening your arteries, and aging your skin. If sugar is like rust, fried foods are like direct heat applied to your body's scaffolding, weakening it with every bite. Consider the digestive burden. Fried foods are heavy, difficult to break down, and often linger in the stomach, causing bloating, sluggishness, and indigestion. That post-fried food fatigue you feel after a fast food meal isn't just in your head, it's your body diverting massive energy to deal with the toxic load. Over years, this strain weakens metabolism, making weight gain easier and fat loss harder. Extra fat, especially around the belly, produces inflammatory hormones, creating yet another layer of accelerated aging. The skin provides one of the clearest windows into the damage. People who consume fried foods regularly often notice dullness, breakouts, and premature wrinkles. That radiant, youthful glow fades, replaced by a tired, uneven complexion. This isn't vanity, it's biology. The combination of oxidative stress, AGEs, and trans fats is like a three-pronged attack on your skin's architecture. Dermatologists often say that what you eat is more important than the creams you use. A jar of expensive moisturizer cannot undo the cellular damage from daily fried snack. And fried foods don't just harm appearance, they age vital organs. The heart bears the brunt, with arteries becoming clogged and rigid. The liver struggles to filter out the degraded oils and toxins, leaving it overworked and inflamed. The brain suffers too. Research links trans fat consumption to cognitive decline and memory loss. Imagine trying to run complex software on a damaged computer. That's what fried foods do to your brain over decades. Even more insidious is the cycle they create. Fried foods stimulate dopamine release, much like sugar, giving a quick hit of pleasure. But soon after, fatigue and sluggishness set in, leading to cravings for more fried, salty, calorie-dense food. This vicious cycle not only accelerates aging but also traps people in unhealthy eating patterns that are difficult to escape. Let's bring it to life with an example. Picture someone who eats fried foods several times a week. Maybe fried chicken for lunch, fries as a side dish, donuts for breakfast. In their 20s, they may not notice much. But by their 30s, signs begin to show: dull, oily skin, slower recovery after exercise, persistent fatigue. By their 40s and 50s, the deeper consequences emerge: high blood pressure, stiff joints, cognitive fog, and a face that looks years older than peers who avoided the fryer. Fried foods are like a time machine, but instead of taking you forward into wisdom, they drag you prematurely into decline. And yet, just like with sugar and processed meats, the hopeful news is that your body is remarkably resilient. When people reduce fried foods, improvements come quickly. Within weeks, energy levels rise, skin appears brighter, digestion feels lighter. Over months, inflammation markers decrease, arteries regain some flexibility, and brain function sharpens. It's as though your body, relieved of the toxic burden, begins to reverse the clock of aging. Crispy, golden, and tempting, fried foods are one of the clearest examples of how pleasure today becomes pain tomorrow. Each bite is not just flavor, it is a trade, a moment of satisfaction now for years carved off your vitality later. Alcohol. The illusion of relaxation, the reality of aging. Alcohol has been woven into human culture for centuries. It's present at celebrations, dinners, weddings, and even quiet evenings at home. A glass of wine can feel sophisticated, a beer refreshing, a cocktail indulgent. People often say, "It helps me relax," or "It's just a social drink." But behind the illusion of relaxation lies a harsh truth. Alcohol is one of the most effective accelerators of aging, silently eroding the body from within. Let's start with what alcohol does at the cellular level. When you take a sip, your body sees alcohol not as a food, but as a toxin. Unlike fats, proteins, or carbohydrates, alcohol has no beneficial role in human metabolism. The liver immediately prioritizes breaking it down, pushing aside other processes to deal with the emergency. This breakdown creates a compound called acetaldehyde, a highly toxic molecule far more damaging than alcohol itself. Acetaldehyde binds to proteins and DNA, distorting their structure, impairing their function, and leaving behind cellular wreckage. Over time, this constant bombardment accelerates aging in nearly every organ. The skin is one of the first places where alcohol's damage shows. Alcohol dehydrates the body, pulling water from skin cells and leaving the complexion dull, saggy, and lined. Collagen breaks down faster, leading to premature wrinkles. The tiny blood vessels in the face dilate and break, causing redness and spider veins. Chronic drinkers often develop a ruddy, puffy appearance long before their actual age would suggest. Even moderate drinkers notice that their skin loses elasticity faster than non-drinkers. The liver, your body's detox powerhouse, pays the highest price. Each drink forces the liver to work overtime, converting alcohol into acetaldehyde and then into less harmful substances. But frequent drinking overwhelms this system, leaving the liver inflamed and scarred. Fatty liver disease, hepatitis, and cirrhosis are extreme outcomes, but even before those diagnoses, the liver's reduced efficiency means more toxins circulating in the bloodstream. The result? Accelerated aging at the cellular level, fatigue, weakened immunity, and poor skin quality. Alcohol also weakens the immune system. 4 hours after drinking, your body's ability to fight off infections is impaired. People who drink frequently often notice they get colds more often, recover more slowly, or feel constantly run down. This isn't just anecdotal. Studies show that alcohol suppresses white blood cell activity, leaving the body vulnerable. Over a lifetime, this repeated suppression weakens resilience, making the aging process harsher and less forgiving. The brain is another major casualty. Alcohol disrupts neurotransmitter balance, slows synaptic communication, and damages neurons. Heavy drinking shrinks brain volume over time, particularly in areas responsible for memory, learning, and decision-making. This is why chronic drinkers often struggle with cognitive decline earlier than non-drinkers. Even light to moderate drinking, once thought harmless, has now been linked to measurable brain aging. That foggy, sluggish feeling after a night of drinking? It's not just temporary, it's a small preview of the accelerated decline alcohol fuels. And then there's hormonal disruption. Alcohol throws off the delicate balance of hormones that regulate metabolism, mood, and sleep. It reduces testosterone in men and disrupts estrogen balance in women, contributing to muscle loss, weight gain, and decreased energy. It interferes with melatonin production, leading to poor sleep quality, which itself is one of the strongest accelerators of aging. A night of drinking may make you fall asleep faster, but the sleep is shallow, fragmented, and unrefreshing. Over years, this erosion of deep sleep leaves people looking and feeling older than they are. Alcohol also inflames the gut microbiome, killing beneficial bacteria and promoting harmful strains. Since the gut is central to digestion, immunity, and even mood regulation, this imbalance cascades into every system. A disrupted microbiome means more inflammation, more oxidative stress, and faster cellular decline. Socially, alcohol wears a mask of sophistication, celebration, and relief. But beneath the mask, it quietly adds years to your face, to your organs, and to your mind. Think of the classic before and after images of long-term drinkers. Hollow eyes, puffy cheeks, reddened skin, slouched posture. Those changes don't take decades. They can appear in just a few years of regular drinking. Alcohol doesn't just age you slowly. It can transform your appearance and health shockingly quickly. And yet, like sugar and fried foods, the hopeful truth is that the body is resilient. When people reduce or eliminate alcohol, improvements often come fast. Skin regains hydration and brightness. Sleep becomes deeper and more restorative. Energy stabilizes, mood improves, and mental clarity returns. The liver begins to heal, regenerating cells and restoring function. It is a powerful reminder that your body wants to protect you, but it cannot do so if you keep pouring in toxins disguised as relaxation. A drink may feel like a harmless indulgence, but every sip is a trade. A few minutes of social ease today for years stolen from tomorrow. Alcohol is not simply a beverage. It is an aging accelerator in disguise. Refined carbohydrates, the everyday foods that age you faster. Refined carbohydrates are everywhere. They're in fluffy white bread, buttery croissants, cookies fresh out of the oven, bowls of pasta, bagels, crackers, and countless packaged snacks that fill supermarket shelves. These foods feel comforting, filling, and harmless. After all, they're not candy, right? But here lies one of the greatest deceptions in nutrition. Refined carbs, though less obvious than sugar-laden desserts, act almost the same way in the body. They may not taste sweet, but once digested, they break down into glucose so quickly that your system is hit with the same surge you'd get from eating pure sugar. Here's the problem. Refined carbs have been stripped of their fiber, vitamins, and minerals during processing. What's left is a fast-burning starch that the body converts to sugar in a matter of minutes. Think of it like pouring lighter fluid onto a fire. It burns hot, fast, and leaves behind destruction. When you eat a slice of white bread, your body experiences a blood sugar spike nearly identical to eating a candy bar. That spike forces your pancreas to release insulin in large amounts, pushing cells to absorb the flood of glucose. The result is the same harmful cascade we saw with sugar. Glycation, oxidative stress, inflammation, and accelerated aging. Let's start with glycation again. When refined carbs break down into glucose, they stick to proteins in your skin, forming advanced glycation end products, AGEs. These AGEs stiffen collagen, weaken elastin, and rob the skin of firmness. Imagine blowing up a balloon. At first, it's smooth and tight. But if you leave it out in the sun, the rubber weakens, becomes brittle, and loses elasticity. That's what AGEs do to your skin. They turn it brittle and saggy, leaving wrinkles that deepen long before they should. People who consume refined carbs daily often notice dullness, puffiness, and an overall tired look, as though their face is carrying the weight of years that haven't even passed yet. Refined carbs also promote insulin resistance, the root of type 2 diabetes and a major accelerator of aging. Each surge of glucose forces insulin to act, and over time, cells stop responding properly. The body compensates by producing even more insulin, but this only worsens the cycle. Insulin resistance doesn't just mean blood sugar problems. It also drives fat accumulation, particularly visceral fat, the dangerous kind that wraps around organs. This fat produces inflammatory chemicals that age the body from within, attacking tissues, joints, and arteries. It's a slow, invisible fire that burns for decades, leaving behind a trail of disease and decline. The gut microbiome also suffers. Refined carbs lack the fiber needed to nourish beneficial gut bacteria. Instead, they feed harmful strains that thrive on simple sugars. Over time, this imbalance weakens the gut lining, allowing toxins to leak into the bloodstream, a condition known as leaky gut. This leak fuels chronic inflammation, disrupting everything from skin health to mood to immune function. It's another reminder that food isn't just about calories. It's about communication between your gut and the rest of your body. Refined carbs send the wrong messages, triggering premature aging from the inside. And let's talk about energy. Everyone knows the roller coaster. You eat a bagel or bowl of pasta, feel energized for a short while, and then crash into fatigue, irritability, and cravings. This constant cycle of spikes and crashes leaves the body exhausted. The brain, which relies heavily on stable glucose, suffers too. Mental fog, poor focus, and memory lapses are common in people who rely on refined carbs as dietary staples. Over years, this repeated stress on the brain accelerates cognitive decline. It's no coincidence that diets high in refined carbs are linked to higher risks of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Refined carbs also impact hormones. They elevate insulin, which lowers sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen. This hormonal imbalance accelerates loss of muscle mass, decreases libido, disrupts menstrual cycles, and contributes to early menopause symptoms. For men and women alike, refined carbs quietly sabotage vitality, leaving the body weaker and older before its time. And then there's the visible evidence. Think of someone who eats lots of bread, pasta, pastries, and crackers. Their skin often appears dull, inflamed, or prone to acne. They may carry stubborn belly fat, struggle with constant tiredness, and complain of brain fog. Compare this to someone who eats whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Their skin tends to glow, their energy remains steady, and they appear years younger than their peers. The contrast is striking, and it all comes back to what kind of carbohydrates dominate the diet. The tragedy of refined carbs is their ubiquity. They're cheap, convenient, and woven into nearly every culture's daily meals. Supermarkets dedicate entire aisles to breads, crackers, cereals, and pastries. Fast food chains build their menus on buns, wraps, and fries. Even healthy snack bars or breakfast cereals are often little more than refined carbs disguised with marketing. This makes them hard to avoid, but awareness is the first step. The hopeful truth, however, is that the body responds quickly when refined carbs are reduced. Within days, blood sugar stabilizes, energy crashes fade, and cravings diminish. Within weeks, skin clears, digestion improves, and focus sharpens. Over months, insulin sensitivity improves, fat begins to melt away, and inflammation markers decline. The transformation can feel dramatic, not because of magic, but because the body is finally free from the constant stress of glucose overload. Refined carbs may look harmless, a slice of bread here, a cracker there, but their impact is profound. Every bite is a subtle push on the accelerator of aging. Over years, that push becomes a force that shapes how you look, how you feel, and how long you thrive. They are silent saboteurs, robbing you of youth one meal at a time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see more videos about your precious health.